Well, it is that time once again. Another month has passed, and we are in May. I can't even believe that we're in May already, but here we go. Yeah, we're in May. Feels like I just turned 24 not too long ago. I mean, I didn't. My birthday was 2 months ago, but it just feels like I turned 24, and we're in May already. So, yeah, I got some reading done. I got some watching done. So let's talk about it. Hello, everyone. Britton here, also known as Sumoki Dude, and I am back once again with another What I Read. This is the series that I like to do on my channel, or, well, I guess it's not really a series. It's something I like to do every month so I can keep track of what I've been reading and watching and the like. So basically, these are all the books, comics, movies, and shows that I consumed during the month of April. I was actually pretty productive this month. I watched a good couple of stuff, and I also read a lot. I also managed to complete a couple of really good books. So, yeah, I guess we should get into it before I start rambling on for too long. So, let's do it. First book that I don't have a physical copy of because it's not out yet. I'm getting a lot of e-arcs recently, but I did end up reading Discovery by J.A.J. Minton, who you might know from Talking Story, my booktube uncle, John Minton, along with his lovely wife Amy and his son Jacob, best producer on booktube. They wrote a book, and it's called Discovery, and it's coming out in 14 days, if I recall correctly. But because I am BookTube nephew and because I am a mod on their Discord and, we're pretty close, I would say, they very kindly gifted me a early e-arc to read. And I ended up reading it on my computer because I generally just get discombobulated when I read it on my phone. So thank you guys for giving me that. I really appreciate it. So what did I think of Discovery? Is it a masterpiece? Is it a dud? I quite liked it. I liked most of it. That first part where they're, I'm going to try and not spoil this here, but the first part of the book, I really, really, really dug. It was a great cosmic horror story. I really loved how it was paced, and I really loved how they created such drama and suspense and, what's the other word I'm looking for? Tension, just from a couple of people sitting in a room trying to figure out this tape / notes that they're wearing. I'm trying to be as vague as possible here. Loved it. I thought, man, this is going to be the best. This is going to be the best self-pub book I've read since the Adan trilogy. The rest of the book, though, I thought was good, but didn't quite reach that height of the first book. I did really enjoy it, though. It did have a very consistent tone. I really appreciated how polished it was. It was probably the most polished self-pub book that I've read since the Adan trilogy by Philip Chase. It really was well structured and well put together, even though the plot is dealing with this big story and there's a bunch of players in the story. I really liked how they kept a very consistent voice, a very consistent, they knew what they were doing is what I'm getting at. And I really liked all of the creativity that was put into this book. And I really liked how it extended a lot of the ideas that was come up with by people like H.P. Lovecraft and August Derleth and even T.S. Eliot. There are references to stuff like The Wasteland, H.P. Lovecraft stuff. There's also references to Heart of Darkness. So a lot of stuff that I really enjoy. And don't get me wrong, I really liked the book as a whole. I thought it was a really, really, really good first book, and I was very impressed with a lot of it. I was very impressed with how they brought it all together. I was very impressed with the prose. I really liked the dialogue quite a bit. I won't say too much more because I am hoping to have the Mintons on for a conversation about Discovery somewhat soon, so I'm going to keep it there, but I was very impressed with Discovery. I thought it was a very ambitious, very bold, almost postmodern. There's not a lot of postmodern books in the self-pub area, if you will, the self-pub sphere, if you will. So I thank you to the Mintons for introducing postmodernism into the indie sphere. God help us all. Anyway, so yeah, I like Discovery. Good book. I'll talk a little more about it when I get to when I talk with them, which is hopefully soon. So yeah, we'll get to that. Next book I read was another indie book. I read a lot of indie books this year, this month, and I ended up reading Phased by Victoria Tech, and you might know her, though, as Tori Talks. And I ended up reading this book. I didn't really know what I was going to think of this book. I mean, I knew I was probably going to at least enjoy myself. You know, it was it has werewolves in it. I'm a big werewolf guy, so, I'm probably going to enjoy it, right? I think it's going to be a solid book. And I'll admit, I was getting a little burned out on books. I was getting a little burned out. Not necessarily a slump was coming on, but I was just getting kind of burned out with, juggling school and reading and my BookTube channel. And I was just like, man, should I just, take a break from reading for a while? Then came Phased, which really surprised me with how not only dark it got, but just the depth that Tori brought, not just the characters, but to the themes that she plays with in this story. There's a lot of really raw, unflinching looks into trauma and systematic abuse in Phased that really took me off guard. I was not expecting for Tori to go there. But I was really impressed with how she combined these really hefty themes with these really likable, very sympathetic characters, and they really go into trauma. And Tori I noticed through this book, she really has a knack of articulating the raw, unfiltered, this is what trauma feels like. And, there's really a lot of pages in this where it is just pure feeling, and I think Tori describes these very raw, uncut, no-kidding feelings of the heart with a lot of grace, I would say. Is that a good word to say? But I really enjoyed this book. I sped through it. I couldn't get enough of it. So, Tori, if you watch this, thank you for writing Phased, and hopefully I will also get you on my channel so we can talk about Phased. But I know you're putting out a new book this month, so that might take some time. But I would love to talk with you about Phased because I really dug the crap out of this book, and really, I mean, we already were talking. I would send her some messages, kind of explaining some thoughts I had, some things I picked up while reading it. But Tori was very kind. She was very patient with me while I was kind of going like, holy crap, did that just happen? That type of stuff. And also just kind of going with my own insights about some of the stuff that she was talking about in this book. But I thought this was a really beautiful book about how our connections with others, the relationships we form, can help us move past trauma. And I think that's something that's really true. And I think that's a message people need to hear. Don't miss Phased. Very good book. So, yeah. Next book I read was one that was on my top 10 books I'm hoping to get to this year, and that is Ham on Rye by Charles Bukowski. This is my first actual Bukowski novel. I've read some of his poetry, and I like it quite a bit. I like his very blunt way of looking at things. If you didn't notice, I have quite a fondness for I have a fondness for authors or creators that are very blunt in how they explain things. And they bluntly explain things that most people wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. I would say that's the same thing with Charles Bukowski. I don't know if I would say this is like a great book. I did like it. I thought it was really good. But a lot of it is basically a very thinly veiled autobiography of Charles Bukowski's life. And it is not a very pleasant read, I should note. There's a lot of depictions of abuse, neglect, generally people just failing to be normal, rational, decent human beings in this. And Bukowski kind of explains his journey from going from lonely, neglected, ostracized kid into this kind of disillusioned, kind of jaded person as an adult. We also learn how he discovered alcohol. And I do remember empathizing a lot with Bukowski's disillusionment with modern-day life, which is something that I've dealt with, and I think a lot of people have dealt with in their lives. Now, Mind you, I'm probably not going to be a, whiskey swilling reprobate anytime soon, but I did empathize, and I did understand where Bukowski was coming from, because I've definitely dealt with these feelings of, so we just have to get up early in the morning, go to work, do a job you don't like, go home, eat dinner, and go to bed, and that's just it. That's what life is. And Bukowski really articulates that very well in this, even if I wouldn't say it's the most sophisticated thing you'll ever read. I really like his terse, economical approach to language. This is a very easy read. You could get past this maybe in a couple days. But I think Bukowski is I think he's a solid writer. I don't know if I'm quite as in love with him yet as many other people are, but I thought this was a solid book. So, yeah, Ham on Rye, solid book. Not really much else to say, so I'll just put that down. Next book I read, another indie book. I'm reading a lot of those at the moment. And that book is Dark Bloom by Molly McCobb, who was very kind to send me a signed copy. So thank you, Molly. If you watch this, I hope she will. But I ended up picking this up because I was in a bit of a post-apocalyptic mood, and I was originally going to read this in October, but I'm like, screw it. It's I'll just read Dark Bloom while I'm thinking about it. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. It's really much like Phased. I guess it's kind of funny because I read 2 indie books from female authors, and I enjoyed them. But they're also probably the fastest I've read books in a while. Dark Bloom, I sped through this thing. I thought this was going to cut into May, but this book was so addictive. I'm not kidding. I completed it in 2 or 3 days. I do have some gripes with it. I won't pretend. I don't know if I love it as much as I enjoyed Phase, which I thought was just brilliant. But I really like Dark Bloom. Really good romance, a really unflinching look at trauma, again, and a really just also really solid, creepy moments. I think Molly has a really good authorial voice. She paces this book very well. I do have some issues with it. Like I said, I'll just, there's one chapter where she kind of just gives a backstory to the character without just kind of showing it, that I think she could have done better. But this is a debut, so I will cut her some slack on that, but that did bother me a little bit. Again, I'm hoping to have, maybe have Molly on my channel to talk about Dark Bloom at some point, because generally when I do indie books, I prefer to have the authors on and talk about it, so I won't have to go like, oh, well, you're just shilling this book because you know these people. And to that I say, fuck you. Anyway, Dark Bloom, I thought was pretty good. A very, very solid debut. And I think you guys should pick it up. It's a really good romance as well. There's some solid romance. And Molly, she even writes the spicy scenes very well. I tend to get kind of annoyed with spicy scenes because a lot of it just reads like bad erotica. But Molly, you can write some spice. You can write some spice pretty well. What can I say? Some good spice. Dark Bloom. Check it out. I'm going to put it down now. So there we go. So those are all the books that I completed this month. Going on to comics. First comic I read was actually first volume of East of West by Jonathan Hickman and Nick Dragotta. I have not read this series, and I was thinking about getting the compendium because it came out recently. And I had the first volume, and I'm like, screw it, I'm just going to sell it. But I wanted to read it before I sold it. Fair's fair. I really liked it. I thought it was really neat. I mean, it is only the first volume, so not a lot is going on. But Jonathan Hickman, I love his Fantastic Four run. It's one of my favorite modern Marvel books, I should say. And Secret Wars, 2015 Secret Wars, I should say, is one of the best event comics I have ever read, if not the best event comic I have ever read in my life. It is truly epic stuff. I mean, give that book a read, if anything else. But going back to East of West, I like the setup. I like the pacing of it. The dialogue is really well done. And I think Hickman's cooking something here. I wasn't quite on the 5 stars just yet, but it definitely has the makings of something that could be really good. So, Yeah, East to West Volume 1 was pretty good. I'm hoping I can get to the rest of the series whenever I get to the compendium, whenever I'll get around to finding that. Um, so yeah, that's all I'll say about that for right now. Next comic book read, which was my last comic read, was another Year of Lemire book, and that is Fish Flies. That was written and illustrated by Jeff Lemire. Another really good book about modern day Canada and some of the weird shenanigans that goes on over there. And I really like this book. It almost feels like a riff on a Brubaker Phillips book at first, Fish Flies. That's actually how Lemire first described the book, as kind of his riff on Brubaker and Phillips. But then a little bit of Lemire just got in there, and it basically follows this little girl named Franny, that's her right there, as she befriends this kind of creature who's kind of like the Fly. I kind of view this book as like a more emotional Jeff Lemire version of the Fly, especially the 80s version with Jeff Goldblum in it. So if you're a fan of like body horror and urban fantasy and weird, small towns with a dark secret, which I am a sucker for, I should note. Yeah, give this book a shot. It was really a lot of fun, and also just some really great paneling from Jeff Lemire, so you can see it here. Again, with the watercolors, he's really quite good. And there's even some good art from another guy. Let me find his name actually real quick. Sean Kurunaru. Really sorry if I butchered your name. But he also did some really great art, some really good watercolor, with some green watercolor that looks really nice. So, yeah, good stuff there. But Fish Flies is another very good Jeff Lemire joint. I really liked it a lot. It's part cop show, part crime drama, part fantasy, part body horror. It's a Jeff Lemire joint. You know what you're getting out of it. And it's also pretty emotional in parts. So, yeah, good work, Lemire. It's good stuff. So, yeah, just put that down. So, that's enough for comics. Let's move on to movies. I watched a couple of movies. Most of them were for my job. And the first one I saw was a Minecraft movie. I don't really want to belabor the point. It was bad. Don't see it. I didn't care for it. If you're like in the 5 to 10 to 12 range, you'll probably like this film. But aside from that, it was the most predictable garbage that I have ever seen. I mean, it's not the worst film I've ever seen, but it was pretty cliched tripe. So, yeah, sucked. Really didn't like it. I'm really sad that I was forced to watch that for my work because there was nothing else out that week. So, wasn't it. Just was not it. And I wasn't really irritated with it until I found its message, which is embrace your inner creativity. I found that a bit insulting because, well, for one, this movie is like the most bare bones predictable. I could literally figure out what's about to happen just from watching it. It is that just mind-numbingly inane entertainment. So, yeah, a Minecraft movie did not cut it. I ended up watching, next movie I'll talk about was a bit better, and that is Warfare, which was the new movie by Alex Garland and another guy named Ray Mendoza. And this film is practically based on Mendoza's actual experiences. He was an Iraq War veteran, and it was good. It was kind of like Dunkirk, where it's basically more of a exploration of the event rather than like something like a Saving Private Ryan, where it's like more of this character-driven piece. It was good though. Not really much else to say. It was very suspenseful. The action sequences were very well helmed. And I really liked the commitment to authenticity. None of this felt too cliched. It was basically just a real-time, this is how this thing went down, and I think they did that pretty well. So, yeah, not really much else to say about Warfare, aside from solid movie, very well made. I don't know if it's for everyone, though. And kind of an odd note for Alex Garland to end on, because I know he's taking a break from filming, at least directing for the time being. But yes. So, the last movie I watched, there's the old saying, to save the best for last. I ended up watching Sinners, the new Ryan Coogler movie. I took my dad and I went to go see it, and we both ended up loving it. This film is legit. I know some people have been saying it's the best film of 2025. I don't know if I would go that far, but I will say this is definitely going to hop up there on one of my favorites. Sinners is probably the best film I have seen in a while. I mean, Sinners is kind of a miracle that this movie got made. I mean, how often do you hear of it was kind of like the same feelings I had when I saw Nope in the theaters. I was just pleasantly surprised and also just completely bamboozled that Hollywood actually let them get away with it. Michael B. Jordan gives probably his best performance in this film. And performances, I should say, because he plays two characters, two twins, named Smoke and Stack. Haha, Smokestack. Anyway, he is phenomenal in this movie, as both of them. This might be the best acting he has ever done, because there are sometimes I do think that Michael B. Jordan kind of just does his, oh, I'm Michael B. Jordan, I'm real cocky, Michael B. Jordan thing. But in this movie, he is like, I am committing to this, and holy crap, it is incredible all the way through. And some really great performances as well from Haley Steinfeld and the lady who was who was like the main guard in Loki. I can't think of her name at the moment. I'll probably put it up here for those who, don't know it. She was incredible in this movie. And freaking Jack O'Connell was in it, who, I had known of. He was in a movie called Unbroken that I saw a few years ago. He was incredible in this movie. And I was just like, man, they should have gotten him for Cassidy. And I actually like the guy who played Cassidy in the Preacher adaptation. But if there was another Preacher adaptation that felt truer to the books, Jack O'Connell would have been an amazing Cassidy. I'm just going to put that out there. He was incredible in this movie. And to be honest, Marvel, give Ryan Coogler Blade. He freaking cooked with this movie. And that's probably not going to happen because Coogler just kind of seems like he's content to do his own thing now because basically he has the right to own this damn movie. He basically is making history with this film. But Sinners is fantastic. The hype is warranted. Go watch it. Also, I should note, Miles Kenton, I don't quite remember. Amazing. An amazing talent. I do think he was a little wonky in some places. I mean, this is his first movie, so I'll cut him some slack. But his musical ability was impeccable. Just incredible. Incredible movie. Sinners was phenomenal. So yeah, go watch it. Don't miss it. It is really as good as people are saying it is. And of course, as the old saying goes, you saved the best for last. And my God, did April save the best for last for me. So yeah, there were some TV shows I also watched. I'll just get them out of the way really quick. So there have been some people who've harassed me for a while to watch the Last of Us show. I finally caved. The new season was coming out, and I was covering the second season for work. I watched the first season, and then I watched the beginning of the second season, and I was like, it's pretty good. It's not the game. It's pretty good. There were some changes they made in the show that there were some of them. Overall, I was mostly positive, but I had some major gripes with it. There were some things I liked. I really liked how they expanded into Bill's story quite a bit. I liked that a lot. There were some stuff they added in with certain characters that I liked. But overall, it just kind of felt like a very well-made, or solidly made, I should say, recreation of the original game. And, I mean, it was solid. It was a solid season of television. Season 2 came out, and I saw the first episode, and I really liked it. I thought it was really solid. I think Bella Ramsey really grew from Season 1 to Season 2. I think she's a lot better in Season 2 than she was in Season 1. And Pedro Pascal, that guy's impeccable. I mean, what can I say? He's a really, really talented guy. And he really captured Joel very well. He really captures, it's in the eyes, man. It's in the eyes. And he was really good as Joel. a very solid show. So yeah. Then Andor season 2 came out, and I started that, and I mean, it was pretty solid. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty good. Probably the most unique. Another one, kind of like Sinners. I'm shocked that Disney, as risk averse and as much as they like to interfere with everyone's good time, I am shocked they allowed this to get made, because Andor is a very mature, very, I don't want to say realistic, because I would hardly call Star Wars realistic, but very gritty, grounded story about how a revolution starts. I'm shocked they're doing what they're doing here. There is even an essay scene, an attempted essay scene. He doesn't actually get to do it, thankfully. That kind of caused a stir within the Star Wars community. And I mean, what can I say? I hate to say it because I don't like this person, but the Critical Drinker put it well enough. I mean, what do you expect from this kind of show that's pretty dark and grounded in comparison to the rest of Star Wars shows that have been out there? And some of the takes that I've seen about this whole fiasco of the attempted SA scene have been ridiculous. I mean, come on. The Empire are the bad guys. Like, what do you expect them to do? Like, come on. I mean, it's just... it's ridiculous. Ridiculous, I tell you. But, I mean, when Critical Drinker is the voice of reason, we've lost our damn minds, people. We have genuinely lost our damn minds. That is all I got to say about that. But Andor Season 2 is off to a solid start. It is a bit slow, because I did watch the first 3 episodes, but I really like the themes they're playing with, how they're meticulously building it. They're not giving it to you early, and the stakes are already pretty high enough as it is. And it shows just how hard it is to start a revolution, because a lot of what makes revolutions fall apart is because there are people who are vehemently disagreeing about things, and eventually some more hot-headed members of those groups will pick up guns and start shooting each other. That's kind of why France fell apart. That's why most revolutions tend to fall apart, because most people can agree there's a problem, but then they can't ever agree on how to fix the damn thing. So yeah, that's kind of what happens. And that's kind of what Andor is exploring. So, yeah, that's about it in terms of stuff that I've watched, consumed, and read during the month of April. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get past this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Find me on Twitter. You can also find me on Goodreads and Letterboxd, where I write reviews that are probably more coherent than the one you just heard right now. You can find me on Instagram, Blue Sky. Don't use Blue Sky very much, though I am starting to use it a bit more. And again, like, comment, subscribe. It's free. I love hearing from you guys. Comment down below. I like hearing from you guys. Tell me what you guys read and watched during the month of April. I would love to hear from you guys. I love hearing and talking with you guys and interacting with the community. But yeah, that's all I really got for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Until next, see you guys later. Bye-bye.